to the Chronicles of a Gooner. Breaking news this morning. Arsenal are set to sign Nicolas Pepe for a deal worth 80 million euros. Hello and welcome back to the Chronicles of a Gooner, the Arsenal podcast, brought to you by the Last Man Standing with loserpool.com. As ever, I'm your host, Harry Symeou, and I wasn't planning on putting out a podcast today. I was planning to have a little bit of a rest over the weekend, and I will be at the Emirates Stadium tomorrow, so I was planning to do some bits from there. But there is some news coming out this morning that cannot be ignored. It simply cannot be ignored. Let's have a quick look at the tweet that we've recently seen from David Ornstein, otherwise known to many as the Ornicle. He says Arsenal have reached an agreement with Lille to sign Ivory Coast winger Nicolas Pepe for 80 million euros, paid by instalments to fit the AFC budget. It's a 5-year deal. Agent agreement still needed, but set to be closed in the next 24 to 48 hours. Napoli also have an agreement with Lille, but agent rejected proposal. So it seems as though Arsenal have won the race here to sign Nicolas Pepe. That means no Wilfred Zaha. So let me know what you think in the comments. Would you prefer Nicolas Pepe to Wilfred Zaha? It's a really, really big statement if Arsenal do get this over the line. My only concern is that he's not centre-back. But put that to one side for a minute. That shouldn't take away from the fact that this is a really, really exciting signing. Let's have a look at some of your comments coming in live at the moment. Ben Turner says Raul Don Sanlehi. Yes, it's brilliant. If he does get this deal over the line, he deserves immense credit. Daryl B says, come on, Hazard, get in there. Shout out from Dublin. How you doing, mate? Lots of positive comments towards the show. Thank you guys so much. Cal Ferg says, love your stuff, Harry. Bulgarian Gooner says, Raul doing a madness. Gary Donahue says, Pepe over Zaha every day. Graham Watts, is this real? Has it happened? Lee Parker says, madness, what a morning. Mitt says, is Pepe a top signing in your view, better than Zaha? I'd say that overall, in terms of their ability, I'd probably say that Nicolas Pepe is a better player. Having seen him a few times. And of course, you know, I can't sit here and say that I watch Lille every week. That would be an absolute lie. That's not the case. But from what I have seen of Nicolas Pepe, he seems a really talented player and someone that I'd love to have at Arsenal Football Club. The only thing that I'd say Wilfred Zaha probably has in sort of his side of the argument is that he is Premier League proven. And I think a lot of people, dismiss that, but I do think that that is a factor. And I do think that Wilfred Zaha is, probably in a position to come into a team and help them straight away because of the fact that he knows the league inside out and he's played against a lot of the opponents. But that doesn't deter from the fact Nicolas Pepe is a fantastic player. And you only have to look at the other clubs that have been in the running for him. The likes of Napoli, who are building a really strong team under Carlo Ancelotti, and many expect to challenge for the Scudetto again next season. Liverpool were in there. Lots and lots of clubs have been involved in this pursuit. But according to David Ornstein, and I'll just go back to that tweet, Arsenal are in the driving seat. It looks as though we've come to the agreement with the agent in terms of the commission, and that is why we are ahead of everybody else in this negotiation. Let's have a look at some more of your comments on this live stream, live podcast. Don't forget you can listen to this back on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, or YouTube, wherever you prefer. Sam Abraham says, what on earth is going on? And he also goes on to say, I think it's a massive risk. I think that it is a lot of money, but in this day and age, there's lots of risks, isn't there? And lots of clubs take these risks. And unfortunately, to get a player who's got a high value and a player who's much sought after, you need to spend that kind of money. There's no sort of way around it anymore. And Arsenal have done this over a 5-year period, which I guess in a way is probably a safer option, because if you do sell him on because things don't work out, then you can make those payments with the money that you recuperate from him too. Ben Turner says Pepe 100% over Zaha. Praveen says finally Arsenal got a replacement for Alexis. It seems that way, doesn't it? I don't think we've had anybody of that ilk since Alexis left, so it'd be nice to see, of course, Nicolas Pepe join the club. Daryl says, I'd say Zaha is raging, definitely better than Zaha, and he has a far higher ceiling. Apologies, getting my words mixed up. Cannon Fodder TV says, won't believe it until he's photographed holding our jersey. I do advise caution. I totally get where you're coming from, mate, because we've read reports like this in the past, and it's not always come to fruition. So, yeah, we should be wary of that, no doubt about that. But I think that David Ornstein, a lot of people say he's lost his contacts at the club, and maybe he has lost some of his contacts over the last couple of years, but he has got a very, very good reputation, and I doubt that somebody of his standing in the game would report something so decisively and categorically say that this deal is agreed if there wasn't any substance to this and he didn't know what he was saying. So Nicolas Pepe seemingly on his way to the Emirates Stadium. Let's have a look at some more of your comments. Loads of comments. Da, da, da. Sam Abrahams again. Love this show, by the way. I'm usually in NYC, but I'm on holiday in London. So hi from Finchley. Hello, mate. Just down the road. It's not far at all from where I currently am. Brandon Benson says, for me, prefer Pepe than Zaha. Um, Catalan Cockney. I like this one. We're Arsenal and we're going to score one more than you. I think that's meant to say. Attack, attack, attack. Yep, agreed. It certainly seems that Arsenal are heading that way because we're clearly not strengthening defensively where we need to be, in my opinion. Egal Ibrahim says this would be a potential game changer for Arsenal if they get it done. Pepe, a far bigger talent than Zaha, and at 24, he's getting better. James B, loads of comments. Keep them coming, guys. Keep them coming. We'll keep the stream going for as long as we've got interaction from you guys. Finally, Arsenal spend a lot of money, and I wish they bought someone cheaper. Would have loved to see Fraser at the club. Interesting. You prefer Fraser to Nicolas Pepe. Interesting. Abdul Hassan says, getting excited now, no question about that, but we still need a centre back. That is my biggest thing with this. I don't want to be a party pooper. I don't want to be that guy that sits there and sounds like they're moaning, because I'm not. We've called on Arsenal Football Club to show they care, to spend the money. And whilst that wasn't the basis of the We Care You Do You campaign, that is, for me personally, I think that the club spending does show they care. And fingers crossed they'll spend it right this time. But yeah, it's the whole thing about the defence, isn't it? It still feels like we're going into the season really weak in that area. When you look at our central defensive options, it looks as though Laurent Koscielny's going to go. You've got Socrates, you've got Rob Holding, Callum Chambers, Mavropanos, Mustafi. None of them really stand out to me as top class defenders. I'd imagine that Unai Emery's probably looking at a partnership of Socrates and Holding for the most part, but you never know what's going to happen with injuries. Lots of different factors to take into account, isn't there? Kartik Joshi says this is a game changer if it goes through. Demon Gooner, following on from my comment earlier, better player than Zaha, but no Premier League experience. How big of an issue is that to some of you? Let me know. Are you bothered that Nicolas Pepe doesn't have any Premier League experience? Is that a big thing for you? Do you think that that's something we should be concerned about? For me, I think overall, if you're a good player, you'll succeed anywhere. But I think that somebody like Zaha may have succeeded quicker than Nicolas Pepe. Now, that's not to say that he won't, that Nicolas Pepe won't come in and set the place on fire. He may well do that. But there's less of a risk, isn't there, with someone who's adapted to the league and knows the league inside out. The only thing, and someone made this comment to me the other day, tongue in cheek, is Wilfred Zaha as useful now that VAR's coming in? Will he win as many penalties? Who knows? Adzi P2012 says, shouldn't this money be used on defenders? I think we needed a winger. So I'm not overly bothered about the fact that we're spending money on a winger. But you're absolutely right in the sense that we do need defenders. I don't think that is up for debate. Darren Watson says, really but smart move. Very talented player and huge resale value if he does well, which we wouldn't get for Zaha. Mark JVFX Gaming says really need to get two flying fullbacks fit to support this signing. Hector Bellerin is certainly one of them, but on the left hand side, we've still got another position that needs addressing. And you know, I think Ser Kolasinac is really good going forward. I think he's really useful in that sense. And we all saw that he can defend the other day when he defended Mesut Ozil and co outside that car. Shouldn't really make a joke out of a bad situation, but you know, everybody was unharmed, thankfully. Let's see what else we've got here. Mitz underscore S says, what is the situation with Kieran Tierney? Do you think we can get this deal over the line? It feels like we're very close to getting this deal over the line, and it's really frustrating that we are sort of £5-6 million away from what Celtic want. It's not a long way to come in terms of a negotiation. So I've still got hope that Arsenal can do this deal, but Celtic have made it very, very clear that they want what they demand and what they value Kieran Tierney at as an upfront payment. Now, we've seen that Arsenal have had a breakthrough here with Nicolas Pepe because Lille were willing to accept a structured deal. And some clubs will take that. It depends on the people running the club and the ownership. You know, Lille will see this as it will help their future for the next 4 or 5 years, whereas somebody like Crystal Palace, who, you know, if they were to be relegated from the Premier League, would lose millions and millions of pounds, probably feel that they need the money now so that they can, you know, replace Zaha straight away. And that's kind of the difference in the Pepe and Zaha chases. With Kieran Tierney, I think that Celtic are just putting their foot down, and rightly so. You know, they've got a player that Arsenal are quite clearly interested in. We've made 2 bids. We've been sniffing around him for a while now. So from a Celtic perspective, I completely understand why they want to make sure that they get what they value him at. You know, Kieran Tierney is a hot property at the moment, and you know, if we are going to sign him, great, but we're going to have to cough up what they're asking for, and that's basically as simple as I can put it. I don't think Celtic are going to budge unless the player himself kicks up a massive fuss, which he hasn't as of yet. So yeah, we're going to have to hold fire on that. Let's have a look at some more of your comments. Catalan Cockney, love your work, Harry. Thank you so much, mate. Really, really appreciate it. More to come. So if you haven't already subscribed, please do. Harry, have club given up on centre half and decided to fix that next year? Possibly. We've got Saliba over the line. He'll be joining us next season. Perhaps Arsenal don't feel that there's anybody that fits the bill for the money that they're willing to spend. And you know, traditionally clubs tend to spend more on attackers, don't they? And that's kind of a general rule nowadays. So you can see why they might want to spend 80 odd million on a forward, but to spend it on a centre back, he's got to be the man, hasn't he? And that's why I kind of have turned my nose up at the Manchester United for Maguire deal. Is he worth 80 million pounds? Not in my books. Let's have a look at some more of your comments before we look at some stats and stuff concerning Nicolas Pepe. Here we go. Pepe over Zaha. However, Everton is a cheaper option with a good centre back. That's from Prince Mantle. Now, there's a lot of talk about this Everton guy, and I saw him play briefly in the Copa America. Looked impressive, but we've been hearing that Arsenal have, you know, gone out and met him and sent medical teams over, etc., etc., but nothing seems to have come of it. So I don't know how concrete that interest is. There was a little video going around on social media, and I know you shouldn't really base things on those sort of comments and those sort of videos because there is not really anything to him. But there was a guy who said to Edu, didn't he? He said, "Are we signing Everton?" And he said, I think he said maybe or something like that. So be interesting to see, you know, what happens in the end. But it looks as though Nicolas Pepe is going to be the one. And that means no Zaha. That means no Everton, in my opinion. Arsenal are not going to go out and buy 2 of those. So, yeah, that's kind of where I stand on that. Marky249, hi, Harry. Do you think defence should be priority? Thanks. I think, and I've said this on previous shows, I think when you look at last season, we scored more goals than Spurs. We scored more goals than Chelsea, and we ended up finishing outside of the top 4. Now, that clearly says that our problem was defensively. But it's not always possible to go and get your targets just like that. So if Arsenal were going to strengthen both attack and defense, and they feel that right now it's the right time to do the Pepe deal, then you kind of have to back them. I'm not doubting that halfway through the season I'll probably be up in arms saying why haven't we signed defenders, etc., etc. But this is where the new regime and the new manager have to live by their decisions, and it seems like a lot of you disagreed with me last season when I questioned some of Unai Emery's methods, some of his tactics. Well, he's definitely had a say in these transfers. I'm not sure he's had the final say. I think that with Edu coming in, things have started to get moving. Rouse and Leahy's very, of course, involved. But ultimately, the manager will be judged for the results. So if Arsenal do not improve defensively, then people will point the finger, and rightly so, at the fact that we didn't go out and do, what we needed to. Let's see what else we've got here. Lots of comments. I can't keep up with them. Jesus. Thank you so much for your interaction today. Praveen says Rugani will be the icing on the cake. I like Rugani. I'm not convinced he's world class just yet, but I don't know if that's because I compare him to the Juventus defenders, the Juventus centre backs who are incredible, and it's a very high bar, isn't it? Delict's gone there now as well, which makes Rugani's future very much in doubt at Turin. So it'll be interesting to see if he's allowed to leave and if Arsenal can get some sort of deal done. Let's see. Anton Klein, much younger than Zaha and also with a higher ceiling, talking about Pepe there, represents value in the future too. Said Rawaste, I think I've said that right. Apologies if I haven't. Remember the last time we signed an Ivorian for Lille? No comment. Let's see what else we've got. John P, if this happens, wow. Avanit Sadani says we need to give youngsters a chance. There are so many of them that can become top wingers. I like this one. Catalan Cockney again. Davy Ornstein's magic. He wears a magic hat. And when he mentioned Nick Pepe, Unai said, I'll have that. Like that one. Let's see. 95 Winston, regular listener, regular viewer, says he's 3 years younger, so has time to get used to the Premiership. And I'll take a good loan centre back for the season. A future of Nelson, Pepe, Saka, and Iwobi on the wings. Be excited, very excited. That's from SN 1234567 8. That's a great screen name, that is. Dave Watson says, I believe Arsenal will do better than Spurs in the new season. We certainly hope so, my man. Pepe has better end product than Zaha. His pace and threat on the counter is mouthwatering. Abdul Hassan. Devi Boy 88 says, Harry, awesome work, mate. Keep it up. Thank you so much for your support. Lots and lots and lots of comments. Demon Gooner, Harry, what does this signing mean for Iwobi? I've hardly had to give any views or opinions on this episode. Such has been the interaction, which is great. But what does the signing mean for Iwobi? I still think that Iwobi will mince my words again. I still think that Iwobi will feature very heavily in Unai Emery's plans for the new season. It was clear that he's a player he likes. It was clear that he was a player that improved. Lots of areas in which he can still improve further. There's no question about that. End product, etc., etc. But I do believe that Iwobi's work rate, ethic, will keep him in contention. And I do think there are lots and lots of games. There's European competition. There's domestic cups. And, of course, the Premier League is a real hard slog. So I think there's enough games for everyone. And I don't think that Iwobi will be up and leaving anytime soon. I think that he knows that he's part of Unai Emery's plans, and that'll be enough for him. Steve 0007. Do you think we should be expecting a Cahill type signing? I bloody can't talk today. Do you think we should be expecting a Cahill type signing? I don't know. I think that Arsenal quite clearly need to plug. We need to plug a gap in defence, but when you look at the defence on paper and you think that we've got Socrates, Holding, Mustafi, Chambers, Mavropanos, that's 5 centre-backs. And Unai Emery's spoken about the fact that he wants to play with a back 4 this season, meaning he only needs 2 at a time. So in terms of numbers, we've got enough numbers, because you also can consider that, somebody like Nacho Monreal could slot in at centre back if you were really desperate as well. So in terms of numbers, we've got the numbers, but do we have the quality? That's where I'd argue no. So if we're going to go out there and get someone of a higher quality, great, I'm all for it. But if we're not, then I don't think we need numbers. So it's kind of a catch-22 situation. I would argue that we don't have the quality, and so we need to improve in that department. But how will Unai Emery see it? Will he see it the same as me? I don't know. So we'll have to wait and see, of course, what happens on that. Right, let's finish off with some statistics. I know everybody likes a good statistic. So let's have a look at Nicolas Pepe's profile. Here we go. Let's just switch over to our favorite website, Transfer Market. Lots of people use this, and it is really, really good. Let's click on Nicolas Pepe here and have a look at some of the information on the Ivorian. Born May 29th, 1995 in France. Let's have a look what else we've got here. Citizenship, Cote d'Ivoire, France, so he is Ivorian, as we know. He currently plays for Lille in France. Joined them on July the 1st, 2017. In response to some of the questions in the comments, he is a forward. He plays on the right wing, but he is left-footed. So he's a inverted winger, Nicolas Pepe. So that's really, really interesting. He joined Lille from Angers for a fee of £9 million. He was valued at 2.7 million when he made that move. So Lille obviously saw something in him and were willing to spend that money. Now, if you look at his stats from last season in Ligue 1, Nicolas Pepe played, let's have a quick look here, 38 games. He made 38 appearances, scoring 22 goals. Yeah, so that's pretty impressive, isn't it? And I guess people will argue that his goal stats were inflated because he took penalties, and I agree with that. But 22 goal return from a winger is really, really good, isn't it? He also made 2 appearances in the Coupe de France, 1 goal in that, made 1 appearance in the League Cup too. But yeah, that's pretty much the basics on Nicolas Pepe. You can see here by this little diagram. He operates from the right-hand side mainly, but he can operate through the middle as well, depending on the approach that you want to take. The thing is, Arsenal are well equipped in that area with Aubameyang and Lacazette. There's no doubt about that. If you look at the latest rumours, which is the probability column, which is something really interesting that Transfer Market do here, the possibility of him joining Arsenal is at 48%. Manchester United 43%, and this is over the last couple of days. I'm sure this hasn't been updated in the last couple of hours. Everton 45%. Napoli, there's a question mark, and that's because there's been some dispute regarding the agent fees between Napoli and Lille. Napoli don't want to pay the commission to Nicolas Pepe's manager, or they don't want to pay the level of commission that they are asking for. So that's really interesting, and I don't know if that will change in the next few days or whatever, depending on how negotiations are going. Let me just have another quick look on here at another column. It's 11 assists for Nicolas Pepe. Apologies, I missed that when I first went on there. Question from Luke Howard coming in. How many assists? It was 11 assists. So 22 goals, 11 assists in 38 league games. I think that's pretty impressive. Of course, let us know what you think in the comments. If you haven't already, if you're watching this back on the replay, let us know what you think. Don't forget to hit that like button, please. It's so important in getting us up the YouTube rankings. The growth on this channel has been incredible in the last couple of months even, so we're really proud, and we'll be bringing you some live stuff tomorrow from the Emirates Stadium. I'll be in the press box for the first time. I've been in press boxes before, I've covered games before, but I have never been in the hot seat at the Emirates, so I'm really looking forward to that. Can't wait, and I'll be letting you know how that goes, of course, with some content tomorrow evening. We'll be back very soon. I'm going to go and enjoy the rain. I wanted to stick the barbecue on, but again, weather has prevented it. Mind you, I've got shelter. We'll have to wait and see. Let's see how it goes. But let me know what you think, and we'll be keeping you updated with this story as it develops. We'll be back, and until then, take care.